This is part 2 of our series on homeschooling styles, methods and philosophies. If you missed part 1, I will pop a link up above and also in the description box below. So I highly recommend that you jump back and watch part 1 if you haven't already watched that one. Hi everyone. Hello. Hi. If you're new here, I'm Kylie, homeschool mom to 3, book lover and adventure seeker. And we've been homeschooling since 2007, so I hope you stick around a while. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so in part 1 of this series, we covered a handful of the different learning styles that you find some homeschooling families venture into or use bits and pieces of. So we're moving right along today and we've got another handful of different learning philosophies for you. And we're going to start today with the Waldorf Steiner method. So in a Waldorf inspired homeschool, the learning process is essentially threefold. And that means engaging head, heart and hands. Or in other words, thinking, feeling, doing. So this can also be seen as taking a holistic approach to education and learning in a way that every aspect of the child is taken into consideration. This method strongly believes that children need a deep and meaningful connection to nature, but that this connection can be achieved through imagination, fantasy, and storytelling. The Waldorf Steiner method is generally a very low technology based educational method, but it is one that integrates a vast amount of art practices. And if you've seen any of the art that comes out of some of these Waldorf Steiner homeschools, wow, they are amazing and I'm in awe. I love following Steiner families on Instagram. What they share is just stunning. So even if you're not sure about the method, go check those out because you'll be really, really inspired. And the Waldorf Steiner method has a very heavy focus on the 3 distinct stages of childhood development. And that brings us to the classical method. Classical method is one of the oldest educational methods known to man. And it started way back in the Middle Ages and is known to be used by some of the greatest minds in history. So the greatest goal in the classical education is to help children learn how to think and learn for themselves. 5 main tools used in this learning process are reason, record, research, relate, and rhetoric, the 5 R's of the classical method. So the classical method is built on a foundation of memorization, and you'll find young children following this classical method will spend a great deal of time memorizing and learning large numbers of facts. This then opens up the pathway to logic and reason as the child matures. The Charlotte Mason method, or often better known as the living book philosophy. The core of this method provides opportunities for children to learn from real life situations. This method has minimal structure. Miss Mason herself believed that children should be given ample time to play and be creative in their own endeavours. It does revolve around a vast array of books and all living books, loads of time spent out in nature, lots of nature walks, observing nature and getting to know the world in which we live, taking many field trips again to explore our vast world out there. But it is a method that uses very minimal amount of textbook. And so a very clear underlying part of this method is that of educating the whole child. This is very much a holistic approach to education. And Charlotte Mason herself believes that education is an atmosphere, a discipline, a life. And the entire mode of education is all built around that premise. Children who have grown up with the education philosophy have had such a rich and varied experience of the world through all the amazing living books that they have read together. And so next up we have the unit study method. Unit study is so much fun. We love unit studies here. And the unit study method is another increasingly popular educational style in homeschooling circles. In a nutshell, this method chooses one topic and builds an entire learning program around that one topic. They will use that topic to teach multiple concepts and subjects and may stick with this topic for a period of weeks or possibly even months, depending on how involved the children are in that topic. So let's say, for example, the topic of choice is ancient Egypt. All their subject areas will revolve around that one topic of ancient Egypt. Each subject area is covered Sometimes maths is the only one that can sit outside. Depending on your family, maths can sometimes be a little tricky to bring into the unit study approach. There are families who make that work beautifully, but that does depend on each family and their particular style, of course. So the unit study approach is most ideal for families with several children spanning multiple ages and grades, because it can work really well to bring everyone together and learn together as a group. So one of the best parts about the unit study method is that there is a myriad of resources out there available to us that we don't need to spend the time creating our own if we don't choose to. However, we have really enjoyed creating our own unit studies because that's where you find the beauty of where the children are interested, heading off on different little rabbit trails and those types of things. But unit studies can work brilliantly for one child or a family of 10 children. So there we have 4 more homeschooling educational methods, styles and philosophies for you today. As I said at the beginning, if you didn't watch part 1, be sure to go over and watch that now, and the videos will be linked on the screen here. There will be a number 3 in this series on homeschooling styles, methods and philosophies, and if you don't want to miss that one, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Anyway, my friends, thank you so much for joining me here today. Until next time, bye for now.